Hey, welcome back to Presidential Madness. Tonight we recap the round of 32, 16 cage matches, most of them awesome, a few not so much, but we are still battling down to the toughest president in United States history. I'm Mark Haggard. I'm a history teacher gone rogue, alongside the ultimate warrior, Dan Young, longtime AP US history teacher, basketball, tennis coach, and former cage fighter.
It's always good to be here, Mark. I look forward to seeing how these matchups end up today.
Dan, I didn't know that your fighting style was the model for Piston Honda in the Mike Tyson Punch-Out arcade game.
You know, it is, and I'm still waiting for those royalty checks to come running in on this one.
Well, dropped many a quarter on that game back in the day. We want you to keep up with our matches. Subscribe to History Teacher Gone Rogue. Click on the bell so you know when the bell rings on our matches. Do you agree with our assessments of these matches? Leave a comment. Hey, speaking of, our matches were scored by a panel of outstanding historians that also happen to be outstanding coaches. Dan, myself, the fight doctor Dave McDonald, OC Rob Doring, and Jason Taylor. Oddly enough, we didn't always agree, like tonight.
And that's okay, because it would be kind of boring if we just agreed on everything.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be like life. Also, a note about how the brackets were set up. Why are Andrew Johnson and Abraham Lincoln matched up, while Lyndon Johnson faces Thomas Jefferson? Rather than try to seed the competitors on some random basis, we placed them in a bracket based upon where they were in the order of the presidents. Because of that, some matches are awesome, some matches are meh, and some paths that cross are a complete surprise of randomity, like tonight's highlight matchup between Barack Obama and James K. Polk. Let's get right to it. Starting in the South, the Walt Disney World Sporting Complex in Orlando. In the first match, John Kennedy getting healthy in a walkover of John Adams, his rotundness. Adams whooped by Camelot in the Battle of Bunker Hill. Adams got a couple of early punches in on Kennedy, got him in the rib, and that was really his only hope.
And being a British supporter during the Boston Massacre didn't really do him any favors. Actually, with the crowd, it sounded like that they were fighting in the TD Boston Garden. There was so much support for Kennedy.
Kennedy stung a little bit, but he gutted it out and finished with a flurry to put away the overmatched Adams. Second match, Andrew Jackson wasting no time with Ronald Reagan. Reagan looked tired. Jackson, my God, in person you'd think the guy was a rail, 6 feet, 145 pounds. You'd think he'd got broken in half by somebody.
Yeah, Reagan looked like a dead man walking. I think he was just happy to get out of the first round.
Jackson was stout against Reagan, taking him in 3 falls. Match 3, finally something competitive for the presidential fight fans. Franklin Pierce versus Rutherford B. Hayes. People called Pierce the hero of many a well-fought battle. You think he may have imbibed a bit before this match. Pierce, the frontier brawler. Hayes, the Civil War vet. This match was brutal. Back and forth, you could hear things snapping with each punch. Both men taking a pounding. Pierce finally puts Rutherford away in the 5th fall. 25 minutes of bloody combat. Pierce moves on.
Yeah, this is a battle of Prohibition, and just like Prohibition ended in 33, Hayes' tournament comes to an end.
And the last of the fight ends a lot like the first two. Eisenhower making quick work at John Tyler. Tyler tapping out. Eisenhower, a good match for him. He recovers from the beating he took in the hands of Truman in the first round. Tyler, kind of like the cupcake you might schedule for homecoming.
Yep, Eisenhower treated Tyler just like one of those cigarette butts from when he quit smoking. Just stepped on his head, twisted, that was all.
So, fans in Orlando got out of the arena quickly. They got to head over to the Magic Kingdom and ride It's a Small World before the park closed for extra magic hours. Hey, you got a little guy. You need to take advantage of that sometime. Head down to Disneyland, stay in one of the resort hotels. They kick everybody else out, and then it's only a 10-minute wait for Space Mountain.
Yeah, that's a good idea. My little guy's, I think, not quite tall enough for Space Mountain, but, maybe I can talk my wife into holding him while I go on the rides.
That would be awesome. Hey, in the Midwest at Butler Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, good things come to those that wait. In the first match, Lyndon Johnson versus Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson enters the ring playing his violin. Johnson connects with a couple of right crosses, knocking Jefferson out. Johnson then takes the violin from Jefferson's corner and breaks it over TJ's head. Dan, anything?
Yeah, TJ's scouting report from Lewis and Clark really paid off in this one and manifested him into this victory.
No doubt. That takes out 1 of yours, doesn't it?
It does, yes it does.
Match number 2, Teddy Roosevelt versus Martin Van Buren. Though this one lasted just as long. Roosevelt dispatching Van Buren. 2-hit match. Roosevelt hitting Van Buren hitting the mat.
Vegas didn't lose any money on this one. The spread was so big, they didn't even have a line out for this one.
Wow, that's... Third match, early evening, Ulysses S. Grant against James Buchanan. I'll tell you, the Midwest is a monster region. Grant making quick work of Buchanan. freaking freight train. He just kept coming and coming and coming after Buchanan. Mary Todd Lincoln called Grant a butcher. Boy, she was right. Bout is over in 3 minutes.
You know, the past 2 fights ended pretty early. Too bad they didn't have Disney World to go to like the other region did.
Yeah, well, don't know much about Indianapolis. All I know is that Valerie Bertinelli's from there. Everything I know about Indianapolis is from one day at a time. Last match of the night, the fans in Indianapolis were demanding their money back again. Stay classy, Indy. Then Jimmy Carter versus John Quincy Adams. Like what this one went to the Matt Offen. I think Jimmy Carter read the fight doctor's analysis of Adams' 6 and wanted to get close to him so he couldn't get fully extended. You saw the frustration on Adams. Seemed that Adams was content to wait Carter out. Carter fighting the perfect fight. You would expect that from a graduate of the Naval Academy. Then he dropped his hands for only a second. Adams got him right in the sternum. You could almost hear the oxygen escaping from Carter's lungs. The farmer goes down in a heap. Adams goes to the mat with him, finishing the job. After the match, he went to his corner, punched himself, then celebrated with his pet alligator.
You know, from the research I've done, Carter was once attacked by a bunny, barely survived. I think the alligator could have won in this match.
Out west in the SLC, in the first match, Richard Nixon, former footballer at Whittier College, that's where my wife went to college, they are proud. His picture is in the same place that USC keeps O.J. Simpson's picture. He takes down little Jemmy Madison. Anything?
You mentioned O.J. I think Tricky Dick took down Madison the same way O.J. Maybe I shouldn't go there.
Let's not go there yet. All right, second match, Abraham Lincoln versus Andrew Johnson. Wow, Lincoln, you don't think of his freakishly long arms until you see him up close.
No, not at all.
Southern newspapers referred to him as an orangutan, and that was not a compliment. Johnson had no way to counter number 16. Lincoln sweeps his successor. Dan, anything?
Lincoln's reach and his ground game really were an outmatch for this one. There was no chance that Johnson had it all.
Okay, match number 3, Zachary Taylor, hero of the Mexican War versus Chester A. Arthur, Civil War general. Mexican War versus Civil War. Quick bout.
Yeah, Taylor failed to eliminate the Seminoles. He didn't do that, or he didn't have that same mistake in this match. He got it done pretty quick.
Hey, last match of the night in the SLC, Gerald Ford versus James Monroe. This was a war, an absolute brawl between number 5 and the Wolverine. These two matched each other, punch for punch, kick for kick. Ford able to get inside a couple of times on Monroe, good body shots, and Ford was up 2-1. Then Monroe started to stick and move, keeping Ford at a distance and using his height advantage. He got the equalizer with an uppercut that sent Ford to the floor. Then the winner with a roundhouse kick on Ford's chin. Ford, gracious in defeat, the hug, the high five. Monroe puzzled about what the high five was. Well, I guess that wasn't a thing in the 1800s. Your thoughts, Dan?
George Washington spoke of Monroe as being brave, active, and sensible. I think he used all those attributes in this one to take down the Wolverine.
Yeah, all right. Let's go out to the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York. East region. Holy criminy, the best matches of the night. In the first match, James Garfield and Millard Fillmore, as the two met in the middle of the ring to shake hands. It looked like Garfield wanted to give Fillmore a hug. Millard went right to his chin, dropping him. I think that ticked off the Civil War vet who pummeled Fillmore, taking the last 3 straight falls. Dan, you chose Fillmore.
Yes, I did, and I chose wrong in this one. But you know, if there's a rematch, I'm still going the same way. I have a hard time choosing a hippie going into a fisticuffs match, but I was wrong this time, and I'll man up to it.
All right, second match of the evening, William McKinley versus William Henry Harrison. Cold evening in upstate New York. Didn't stop Harrison. He enters the building with no shirt on. I suppose trying to intimidate McKinley. Then he stops and talks to supporters. Talked for over an hour. Snow started falling while he was talking. Had a coughing fit as he was leaving the crowd. McKinley connected with a right to Harrison's chest. Harrison coughed up some blood, then collapsed. McKinley moving on.
Yeah, Harrison, he lived a pretty privileged life, and I think that was just not enough to take on the rug and Mount McKinley in this one. That's kind of the way I saw it going down pretty quick.
All right, third match. This is going to be the highlight match of the night. The father, George Washington versus Benjamin Harrison. Washington, the man that the Iroquois called the destroyer of villages. Harrison drops Washington in one fall, but the rest of the night went to number 1.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if Harrison's frat boy days at Phi Delta Theta came back to haunt him in this one. Maybe he stayed out partying a little too much with the brothers the night before.
Could have been. Could have been. All right, Dan, here we go. Barack Obama versus James K. Polk. Everything on the line here. A lot of circling at the start of the fight as the two size each other up. Polk giving Obama a real quizzical look. Polk initially threw a couple of jabs at Obama, and a straight right put him on the mat. Rather than go to the mat with him, He allowed Obama to get back up, and again, bad mistake. Obama stung Polk with a powerful straight left. That staggered Polk. Obama followed that up with a move he called the Emancipation Proclamation. That caused a cut over Polk's right eye. Obama then let Polk gather himself. The two circled again. Polk asked Obama where he learned to fight. Obama told him that it was on the mean streets of Honolulu. When Obama told Polk that he graduated from Harvard, it was like all the color drained from his face. Polk started swinging wildly. He connected with a vicious right cross, sending both men to the floor. Obama then made a brilliant move that he calls the Underground Railroad. That stunned Polk. A couple of quick, hard lefts. Obama got behind Polk and choked him out. Did you catch that?
Yeah, that was one that everyone was tuning into, and I couldn't have expected a better fight, and they came through on this one for us. For on this match, let's throw it out to a resurrected legendary Chicago Cubs broadcaster. Harry Caray's alive with us today.
Hey! Thanks, everybody. Harry Caray here. I've been following Chicago's favorite son around the country. Not sure who this Obama guy is, though.
Harry, how are things in Syracuse today?
Hey, Steve, it's a cute little town with a pointy building in the middle. Well, the problem is I can't get a tall, cool Budweiser on a Sunday night. I'm a Bud man. Hey, how about that coronavirus? 1 minute you're drinking a tall, cool Budweiser. The next minute you're dead. Hey, Dad, if you could have the choice to be the greatest cage fighter in the world or have coronavirus, which would you choose?
You know, neither is a guarantee, but with this one, I like my chances of survival in the octagon.
Good. I thought you were going to say have coronavirus. Hey, Steve, how about that President Obama? He came out like a wildcat, biting and scratching. I hope he gets elected to another term. It looked like when Nolan Ryan fought Robin Ventura in 1993 and throwing him high and tight. Hey, you know Obama's from Honolulu. I thought you had to be American to be president. I wonder if he knows the Jamaican bobsled team. Hey, Cubs win. Cubs win. Hey, Steve, you know where I can get a nice cold Budweiser in Syracuse? I'm a Bud man. So here we are. We're down to the Sweet 16. The Pretenders are gone, changing venues. Out of the Sweet 16, is there a match you're looking forward to next weekend?
There is. I've got one in mind, and this is coming out of the East region. It's Barack Obama versus Mount McKinley himself. We have the president who has a mountain named after him versus a president who took that name away and gave it back to the Native Americans in Mount Denali.
Oh, that's up in Alaska, right?
That is.
Oh my God! Oh my God! This was not. Take a look at this one. This is not planned anyway. Once again, the bracket gods give us a dream matchup in the West in Anaheim. Tricky Dick Nixon versus Honest Abe Lincoln. Dan, are you kidding me?
I can't, like you said, we couldn't have put this together ourselves and came out with better results. This is the ultimate from values to no values, throwing them together and seeing who's going to come out on top or out on bottom. I don't know.
This is amazing. We thought Obama Polk was going to be intriguing. Can't wait. More on Lincoln versus Nixon later. We'll preview the entire Sweet 16 next. Remember to subscribe and click the bell so you know when we ring the bell in our matches and comment on them. We may be wrong. Share it with your friends that love history or cage matches or politics or two guys yapping in front of a screen with President of the United States. Although not today, apparently. Dan, any last thoughts?
Going into it, it's looking pretty exciting to see these last 16 competitors, who's going to come out on top and who really has that fortitude to get down and dirty when it really matters most.
Yeah, boy, the pretenders are gone. The contenders are still here. Hey, thanks for coming by. I hope you had fun. We sure did, but we won't quit our day jobs. I want to thank our producer, Casey Moulton, and Nicole for running the teleprompter. And thank Mr. Brent Allen for letting us borrow his studio here on the campus of Columbia High School. And remember us. I'm Mark Haggard. He's Dan Young. We're history teachers, and we've gone rogue.